right, Dave, thank you so much for coming on the channel. I really appreciate it. This is super exciting. I'm so inspired by you, and I know you're one of the pillars of the community. And so it's an honor to have you. And I just wanted you, if you would, just start out by telling the viewers and the audience just a brief little synopsis about where you're from. Are you married? Do you have a day job? Just kind of stuff like that. And then we'll get into the questions, whatever you're willing to share.
Yeah, so I've been doing this for a while, since my son was born. Right before my son was born, he's 9. So been doing this for a while. Of course, I'm a fragrance reviewer on YouTube, on Instagram. My channel initially started doing kind of discussions, kind of discussing fragrances. And my channel's always been about fun and informative and smart, and just kind of a mishmash of that kind of thing. But I always try to make reviews fun and enjoyable and that kind of thing. But I'm always just looking for really good fragrances, maybe unique scents, scents that I haven't tried before. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. And then I live in Alabama, here with my wife and 2 kids. My daughter's birthday is today, so awesome. She's 8. Awesome. So yeah,
that's awesome. All right, so what is that one event or that series of events that took place that maybe got you interested or exciting about being a fragrance enthusiast?
Okay, so I usually say a couple of different things. So the first thing that I remember was being a kid, and my dad got me like these little this little aftershave kit. It was like a shaving kit, but it had aftershaves in it, like just like drugstore aftershaves, like really cheap stuff. And I remember Old Spice distinctly being in there, and I think there was English leather. It was like really cheap stuff. But I remember really liking that, just because I liked the fact that it was kind of like, in some ways, it was one of those gifts that was like a manly type of gift. And so seeing that as something that my dad did and getting that as something for me, it was kind of almost, in a strange way, it was almost like a rite of passage, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But I was really young. I think I was like 7 or 8 when he gave this to me. And I remember wearing Old Spice, like drenched in Old Spice, thinking that, that I liked it. And, still, I think that Old Spice is still pretty good for what it is. But so that's one memory that I remember thinking was like the seeds of when it all started. And then,
yeah, that makes sense.
And of course, there was no fragrance community that I was aware of at the time, though there's perfume lovers, for centuries. But that was kind of the beginning start of it. And throughout the years, maybe I would get a gift from parents or friends or, loved ones, whoever. They would give me maybe a cologne, and I would wear that for however long it was. And then probably the next kind of step after that was out of high school at the time. And I was working this one job, and I met this girl and asked her out and thought, I kind of need to get something that smells nice. And because I didn't have anything. And so I went to the department store here in town, and didn't really like that experience, having to haggle with or not really haggle, but having to deal with a sales associate at the perfume counter is not something that I like to do, especially at that time. And so walked away with Acqua di Gio by Armani, and wore that for a long time. And then after a couple of years, I ran out of whatever I had from Acqua di Gio and thought, I kind of want to try something new. What should I get? And thinking, maybe I should just look on YouTube and see if anyone has any reviews or anything, suggestions for something. And I searched, whatever I searched on YouTube, and found a couple of really old, I shouldn't say old, they're not old. This is like the beginning stages of the fragrance community. I remember Mark Robes 08 was on there, and there was another guy named Tim Sweatkoff was on there. Another guy named Cubby C. Formosa 4 was on there. And they had a lot of suggestions, things I'd never heard of before. And so after that, I went to go try some things at the department store. And that really sparked my interest in trying all of these fragrances that they suggested. And through a series of events and trying a lot of things, watching more reviews, I got the idea of something that I like doing at the time was talking to my friend about, things that we like. And then we were both interested in these fragrances and we were talking about that. It reminded me of watching Siskel and Ebert as a kid. I remember I would watch them, and it's not really like a kid's show, but I always loved the discussion that they would talk about with movie reviews.
I watched that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it.
Me too.
So, the ones that I liked the most, the episodes that I liked the most were the ones where they disagreed. I thought those were always the most interesting because then you get two perspectives and they're both like really passionate about their opinions here and sometimes getting on the point of arguing. And that was to me the most fun part about the discussion. And
I agree.
And, now that we have like live meetings and podcasts, you get more discussion now, but you didn't really get that much then. So I wanted to, I thought maybe I could do a channel that had like a discussion type of format at the time. And that's how Fragrance Bros started.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's like one of the things I used to like about, and I'm not going to call it any names specifically, but a news organization back when it was one-on-one, left versus right, not when they had 4 right guys versus 1 left guy or 4 left guy, and now that's what they do. They stack the decks on these shows. I used to like it when it was one-on-one back in the day, but now they don't do that anymore. But yeah, because I just kind of like that back and forth, and then you can make up your mind. And that was the same thing about what you were talking about. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I think you said you've been a fragrance enthusiast or been in the fragrance game for about 9 years now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's awesome. So what was that one thing then? So now you're liking fragrances and you're into them. It's one thing to be into fragrances and, be enthused about them, but it's another thing to build up the guts and the courage to say, I'm going to take this to YouTube. So what pushed you over the edge? I know you like the back and forth. Was it a long time building up to actually start making the content on YouTube, or did you just do it right away and just dive right in?
I just dived right in. Yeah.
Wow.
I just had the idea, and like I had the basics of what we needed. I had a camera. It was a really bad camera. This is before smartphones were really prevalent. I think there were some out there, but I think that smartphones were just in their infancy at the time. And I had a camera, and this was not a DSLR camera. It was not good. And that was it. We didn't have any lights. We didn't have any microphone. We just had a camera, and that was it. And that's how we started. We just started in my living room with, the bare bones as we could get it. No video editing. Sometimes we would make mistakes and we have to do it all over again. So that was it.
Man, because when I was thinking about doing it was like a lot of build up leading up to it. I watched other people do video. I watched videos of not just fragrance contenters, of people talking about what it took to make YouTube videos. And then I'd be like, yeah, maybe I'll do it. And I was like, no, I won't do it. I don't have anything to offer. No one would want to hear what I have to say. And I don't know the notes and all that. Even when I started, I didn't even know what a note was. I thought that was for music. But so yeah, I was like, I don't have anything to offer. But then I was like, man, I gotta, you just gotta jump in the pool. If you dip your toe in it, it's cold. If you jump in, you get used to it. And, so that's what I had to do. So I applaud you for just diving in, because it was a long build up for me to actually do it. That's awesome. Let's see. And so have you been doing the YouTube videos as long as you've been into fragrances? Like, so been into fragrances for about 9 years, or is that how long you've been doing YouTube videos?
Yeah, I've been doing YouTube videos for 9 years.
Okay, but you've been a fragrance enthusiast longer than that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just making sure. Did you find it? May seem like a weird question, but I've had people talk about this. The only reason why I'm asking. Do you find it difficult to share with friends, family that are close to you about your fragrance enthusiasm? Because sometimes when you're doing things that are extraordinary, they kind of seem a little weird to people, overboard. Why does one man need 2,000 fragrances, or in my case, 200 fragrances? Or, did you find it hard to share with people what you were doing?
Yeah, I still kind of do. Mostly because it's all the same conversation.
Yeah.
So it's usually it's like, what do you do? And I usually don't start with YouTube because I know where that's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if I get to YouTube, I say, yeah, and I have 2 YouTube channels. Oh, really? What are they about? Okay. Oh, well, this one's about fragrances. Fragrances? What's the best fragrance? You know, it's always like the same thing over and over. And like, okay, just watch my channel. But, and it's not that and that seems like really callous just because I've had the question over and over and over and
I know
over
what
again.
you mean.
But they're genuinely asking because they're interested. But because I've heard the same conversation all the time, it just gets like, I'm just tired of talking about it.
Yeah.
But also too, it's kind of just a strange topic in general. Like the way that I kind of compare this is like I have a second channel. So the second channel is pretty young, and it's called Beast Made Reviews. So that
I just subscribed
to
it today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So, yeah. I saw you. You joined on my. You followed me on Instagram.
Yeah.
Anyway, so on that one, I talk about like high quality products, whether it be clothes or everyday carry stuff, or even my guitar stuff, all kinds of stuff, whatever I like. But there's a broader audience for that. And what I found is it's easier to engage people with things that they already need with like clothes. If I say that I have a channel about clothes, they kind of already think that's cool. And they'll talk to me about, they'll ask me questions about that because they already think that's interesting and something they already need. But if I say it's about fragrances are essentially a non-essential item. You can live your life without having a fragrance, but you can't live your life without owning clothes. So it's one of those things where people might think about, but they think about it in a way it's like, a fragrance, I don't really need that. A lot of people think like this. They think it is a luxury item, and it is a luxury item, but it's something that you don't need in life. And so to have a channel dedicated to something that is essentially superfluous to most people's everyday living, everyday life is almost alien to a lot of people. So when I talk to some people and tell them about this, I might as well tell them I'm into stamp collecting. To a lot of people, it's bizarre, and they don't even know this. But a lot of times, whenever I'm talking to them, they'll give me like the weird look, like the really, like they might mean the best, but their face is saying that's strange, So that's why I don't really talk to them a lot about what I do with this anyway.
I was somewhere and I was talking to somebody and she's like, "Oh, you smell really good." I think it was at the doctor or somebody. It might have been the nurse. And I was like, "Well, thank you very much." I said, I review fragrances on YouTube. And she goes, "Oh, I could see that." And I was like, "What do you mean?" In my head, I'm like, "What do you mean by that?" And I was like, wait a minute, that's probably a good thing. And she said, what is your favorite thing about being a content creator?
Well, I mean, I like a lot about it. I mean, there's some things I don't like about it, but I like that there's a lot of flexibility in it. I like how I could just make whatever I want. I can make what inspires me. I like, putting my opinions out there. I genuinely like the review process. I like explaining how I analyze things. I have kind of an analytical mind anyway.
Yeah.
And so having an outlet for kind of the analytical type of mind that I have is actually kind of is rewarding just in that way. So I like that. I like that aspect. I mean, there are downsides to it, but I love how flexible it is with, I can make this in different places. I can make this anytime I want and things like that. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like about it.
Awesome. And so I'm going to ask you, my next question is, what's your least favorite?
Probably my least favorite thing is that the flip side of that is in a lot of ways, you can't do everything you want. A lot of ways you kind of have to do what you think other people will like. And I don't like that aspect of it. So especially with YouTube doesn't promote they don't promote everything evenly. They promote things in a kind of popularity ranking. So if you make something that will get a lot of attention and likes, it will get promoted more. I understand it from their perspective, but what that means is there is a type of video that will get more attention than other videos, and then other videos will get no attention. So they promote things unevenly. For a creator, if you're making something that inspires you and you get a positive feedback, then that's really rewarding. If you make something that inspires you and you get no feedback, or you get something that is kind of lackluster and not well received, then that's really kind of off-putting. And I've had a lot of that. And at this point, I just kind of deal with it. And I don't like always having to cater to the crowd. I never have always done that, but some creators, maybe they really like that aspect of it. Maybe they really like just the aspect of getting the popularity immediately.
Yeah.
I'm more on the side of, I prefer the creativity aspect and not necessarily the numbers. So if I were to have to chase the numbers all the time, that would be just completely demoralizing. Makes sense. And so that's one huge kind of negative thing. But on top of that, I think like the time that you have to put into a review is a lot of time, a lot of work. I know a lot of, people who criticize YouTube reviewers, they don't even understand the process of reviewing. And that to me is the funniest thing about it. At this point in my YouTube career, I get a lot of things sent to me for review. Mm-hmm. And that helps a lot in content creation. And to some people, they see that as just like a free ticket or freebies or something like that. And they see that as a bad thing. On my side, I'm like, that is not even, paying for my time. And if I were to just even sell this fragrance, you don't even understand how much time it takes to write a review, to test things, to record the reviews, to set up all the equipment for the reviews, to tear down, and then to edit the thing. It takes a lot of time. And then to promote it on top of that, it is a lot of work and a lot of time. And that can also be draining too. So that's a big downside. You just have to kind of really like it, I guess.
I liked what Max was saying about it, because we were both talking about it, and it's so right on about the bottles and stuff coming to you. If you actually know the business and how much one of those bottles actually costs, let's just say, and this isn't high end, let's say it's $30, but a lot of times it's a lot less than that, and the markup is ridiculous. So if it is a $30 bottle, and you got, obviously they're charging $200, $300 for it, but it is a $30. The $300 is just the markup. But what you're saying is I'm only worth $10 an hour, and you're working 3 to 4 hours to put a video out. And that's, if they knew how much time it takes to do the editing, the promoting, the hashtagging, to do all the things that the algorithm picks up and all that, they wouldn't complain about a silly free bottle. They'd actually be like, here, take more,
Yeah.
It's worth your time,
Yeah. And I'm not complaining about the work. I like the work.
I know.
I like that aspect. And so I'm not complaining about any of that. I really like that. But what I would say is like, it's genuinely work. What I tell people is, you go and you spend 8 hours a day and you go work, you get paid for that work.
Yes.
I go and then sometimes for my videos, I barely get paid for the videos on YouTube. And if I get a free bottle, that's barely any compensation for the amount of work that I put in. No,
I think they're just afraid too that now that you got a free bottle that you're going to review, you're just going to lie because of, about how good it is because you got it for free or whatever. But it's just, I don't know. For me, I just try not to worry about all the dishonest stuff people are doing. And I just try to find the positive in what they're doing. It's too exhausting trying to figure out who's dishonest and buying views and buying this. And it's like, man, I don't have time to focus on that. Life's already too hard to be focused on all that negative. It's crazy that people focus on that. To me, it is. But anyway, so one of the negative things for me is about doing this is, because I'm new to the game, so you'll probably get a good laugh at this, is to me, I'm in my 40s, and I feel like people by now should know, even people in their 20s that are young should know that this is all subjective. But for some reason, they still don't seem to know that it's subjective, and they'll come on there and tell me my review sucked, or that fragrance sucks, or it doesn't perform, or it doesn't last. And sometimes after you put so much work into it and they come in and attack one of your videos, you get a little bent out of shape about it from those negative commenters. So what do you do, Dave, to handle the negative commenters on there?
So I put them in a couple of different categories in my mind. So there's a first type of commenter that is very vocal about their opinion about a fragrance. And they may say, maybe this is something that I think is just brilliant. And they say, oh, this fragrance sucks. I can't believe you like that. They're very vocal about that. That I'm fine with. And that doesn't upset me at all. Then there's the next type of person that I'll put them more in the troll category. And they're well, I don't necessarily say troll. The third type of category is a troll. The second type of person is someone that maybe they are attacking me on a personal level in some way. They say, like, your reviews suck or something like that. If they're on the second category and they're just being mean, I will usually dig in back at them. And I have a lot of fun with that because like their opinions don't hurt me. They're just an opinion. I don't know who you are, and you don't know who I am. And you know more about me than I do about you. So I could care less about that person's opinion. And at the end of the day, I don't even have to answer it. I can just delete it. And so sometimes I might just delete it, and I won't even, what gives me the most satisfaction some days is they'll give me like this giant, massive block of text. And at the very start, it starts off really bad. And then I'll just delete it. I don't even read the second sentence. And so in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I just got the most satisfaction by wasting that person's time. They thought they had this great erudite way of saying that I sucked. And then I just deleted their comment without even reading it. That to me gives me immense satisfaction, knowing that I don't even have to pay attention to their comments. So I like that. But I also like digging in sometimes. Like, I really like, if you're going to write something on my channel, if you're going to make fun of me in some way, then I'm going to make fun of you. That's just fair game. And then there's a third type of person, and you just know they're trolling. They may call me, some kind of slur or name or something like that. And I'll just block them. So, but at this point, like, it doesn't ruin my day. I don't think about it. Like, I'll go on there and I'll check comments about once a day in the morning time, and I'll scroll through, and then reply to the comments that need to be replied to, be they good or be they ill. And then go about my day. I don't give them a second thought. So, at this point, like, but in some ways this has been good. So in a lot of ways, throughout the years, seeing these comments has just really kind of thickened my skin in general. So, like, even if someone says something about me to my face, it won't bother me. But that's been, I think, a really positive thing in a lot of ways. And now I'm not telling people to go say something bad on my channel, but at the same time, even though it has been good, it's worked out for my good. So,
because like, not thinking about monetary or whatever can lead from being a fragrance reviewer, what I like about it is it can change you in some ways. It can, make you more bold, more confident because you're in front of the camera, because that in and of itself is, a fearful thing to do. Maybe not for you, but it was for me. And then also, like you said, it is through trial and error, because I've made some mistakes with some of the commenters. It can thicken your skin, and you start to pick your battles and learn that, like you said, it just thickens your skin. And I am noticing that happening with me. So to me, I see that as a positive thing. So I like the fact that YouTube is helping me grow in certain ways. So I'm not even thinking about monetary or what I'm getting from it or what I'm not getting from it. I like that. So it's pretty cool. Dave, so somebody's watching this video for the first time and they're on the fence. You know, we talked about how we both, you know, it took me a while to build up and you just kind of jumped in and they're thinking to themselves, you know, I want to be a content creator too. And, you know, whether it be fragrances or talking about He-Man, I don't know, whatever. And they're like, man, I don't know if I should do it. You know, maybe the market's already saturated, or maybe there's too many reviewers or too many content creators. Where do I fit in? What would be the best piece of advice you would give that person looking to start a channel?
I would say, what I generally say is, don't try to be like another channel. Try to find what voice is yours. So like whenever I started, I came out with an idea that I thought was, you know, my particular voice at the time. And some channels, they try to be other channels. And I don't think that that's a good idea, just because, you know, you're never going to be that. If you're copying someone else, you're never going to be a good copy. It's always going to be something that is going to be like, why am I watching this channel if they're just like, you know, XYZ? But if you have a unique voice, if you're doing something that is particular to you, then I think that is interesting and watchable in itself. And it could be anything. It could be the style of video. It could be maybe just the way that you review. It could be, you know, maybe the angle or different things. Like I said, whenever I started, it was that we had two different people talking back and forth. That was a unique angle at the time. So it could be a lot of different things. But I would say, you know, kind of lean into what that unique aspect is. What do you think about you makes your opinion particularly unique? And I would say that's more important. As far as like the details, you know, a lot of people, before they start reviewing, they go into it with the equipment needed or what you need. And I think that that's irrelevant. I don't think that's the most important thing. I think, you know, you can think of any number of content creators who still use maybe not great lighting, or maybe not great audio, or maybe not great video. The type of equipment that you have is not as important as how you review or how you make your content, what it is that is your content itself. So defining what that is a lot more important. And then later on, as you grow, as you know, get more money, maybe from AdSense or whatever it is, then later you can upgrade and do that. I know it took me years to you know, upgrade all my equipment and things like that. And over the years, it took me even longer to understand the best way to use those. And so now, even now, I'm thinking of different ways I can use lighting or audio or camera and things like that to make my experience a little bit better. But that's not the most important thing. I think the experience is more important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also make sure you love it, what you're going to be talking about, because that'll get you through when it's lean. And like I said, you want to love it so that you would want to do it anyways, you know, because you're just doing it to feel the euphoria from getting the likes or whatever. YouTube's a little harder on that. If you're just starting out, you're not always going to get the love right away. I always say YouTube is like a cat. You have to earn its love, and Instagram and Facebook are more like dogs. They'll love you unconditionally.
Yeah.
With YouTube, so you have to love it to get you through. And if you don't love it, you might not keep on doing the work and the grind. You know, because you don't always experience the love right away. That's kind of what I think. So yeah, for sure. I was just thinking of something while you were talking, and forgive me, my mind wanders, and I was going back to what we were talking about. I was watching a guy do a YouTube video, and I have no idea who he was or what. I went down the rabbit hole on YouTube, and I looked at his fault. I don't even know what he does. And that's right. He gives people business ideas and stuff like that, and how to make it in business. and he started the channel for fun. And he was talking about, he had like 100,000 subscribers, and he was talking about why he did this, and it was fun. And he said, but it got to the point where, you know, the algorithm wouldn't pick up his videos unless he did top 10 how-tos, and he wasn't making the content that he wanted to do. And it started becoming unfun, and he was really contemplating not doing it anymore because he was giving the people what they wanted and not doing what he wanted. And I can see, I almost relate that to art, because there's some people that I know in art that really want to do abstract, but they have to paint the dogs and the puppies and the trees to sell, to live, so they can do what it is they really want to do. And I can see where sometimes you lose yourself in that, because that's not really what you like to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It just came to me. I remember watching that guy's video, and it was so sad because he was like contemplating just giving up his 100,000 subscribers because he was having to make videos that only they wanted and not what he wanted to do. But anyway, that was that didn't have anything to do with anything, I guess. What's that one thing you'd like to clear up about being a content creator that you think everybody has confused?
I think the first thing I think is that it's like not legitimate work in some ways.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about that earlier.
We did.
Yeah, content creation is a grind. Like you mentioned before, it is a lot of work. It's a lot of unseen work, and it's a lot of underappreciated work, and underpaid work in a lot of ways. And this is just something that you just have to accept for the most part. And unless you have like an elite channel that has a lot of views constantly, then it is going to be something that you're just going to have to do more for fun and less for pay. But I think there's one camp, like a Reddit type of camp or Fragrantica type of camp, that they see YouTube reviewers as kind of like this stepchild type of reviewer. And I find that so funny. Like they can go on there and be anonymous, whether it is Reddit or Fragrantica for the most part, be anonymous, give their opinion, and that's somehow more validating than putting everything out there, putting more time and effort into their review, and seen as less valuable as a review. I think that's such a bizarre way of thinking. This is not something I always think about, but I just don't know why that perception exists, other than the fact that maybe some people think of themselves more highly than they should.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but what my gut tells me is that YouTube and social media is going to be way more of the future of how people get their products out. And I don't just mean, boutique fragrances, I mean, I even mean the mainstream people are probably going to start coming to more content creators to get the word out instead of paying for advertising. It's just smarter. And, the internet's here. And I really think we're going to see an uptick in that. But that's just what I think. I don't know. I don't have any proof for that. But it just seems like that's the trend. Like they're going to jump on board with that. But and then maybe those people will be less critical, but who knows? I think they'll always exist. One last kind of serious question, and then I'll just get into that rapid fun questions and get you out of here, because I know you got somewhere to be. What is your stance on these content creators who are making money? It seems like a lot of people recently over the last year are jumping into the fragrance game, where they're having their own fragrances come out. And I know there's a lot of chatter about that, and some people are for it and some people are against it. What's your opinion about that?
I mean, I don't care. I don't see it as a bad thing at all. I think, I got this question from Sam at My World Fragrance. We did a live on her Instagram, and she asked me a similar type of question. And my answer will probably be pretty similar here, but I always think it's funny how people will criticize someone who has maybe a large following, that they want to make their own line of fragrances, or they want to do something in an entrepreneurial type of way. Yet every day there's someone that is unknown that is doing the exact same thing. that gets no criticism for making the same thing. So like how many fragrance lines are just popping up every year from people that have no context. You have no context. You have no idea who they are. Yet if one person who has, thousands of subscribers on YouTube makes a fragrance line, they somehow get more flack for it. But you have all this content from them with all their experience documented. So you know where they're coming from. That to me says more about their credibility and not less. So, to me, the thing that I just expect from someone who is creating anything is that it just be good. And I think that, we should always hold someone to that standard, that it be good. And they need to be, their product needs to be criticized or praised the same way that any other product or any other product would. I think that we don't need to wear kitty gloves whenever we're reviewing from someone that's more popular. We don't need to bash it if it doesn't need to be bashed. It just needs to be honest. We need to be honest about the product. So for some of these people that are making fragrance lines, some of them are very good and some of them are very bad, so that in a review, I think that especially if you want to make an opinionated style of review like I make, that needs to be mentioned. It just needs to be good. But as far as like their motivation or what I think about them making it, I think that's great. I think if they want to make something, I say more power to them. I don't care if they go out and they make diapers. If they want to do something that makes them money, if they think that's something that is good for them, then great. I think that's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. And also, I think the market will reflect accordingly. If the market thinks that you're spending, if it's the fragrance is too high, or if the market thinks the fragrance sucks, the market will reflect accordingly, and that person will adjust his or her style unless they're stubborn and just want to go out of business. So, let the market dictate who's good and who's bad, and we'll just give our opinions, because the market will spit them up and chew them up. You know what I mean? They'll chew them and spit them out. So yeah, that's what I think anyways. But cool. Thank you. I agree with you. I've said this in a bunch of other, interviews and stuff, but I'm just a firm believer when the light shines on one person, like I like sports. When the light was shining on Tiger, he brought all the advertising dollars and all the cameras and everything, and everybody else benefited from the light shining on him. So I say, and I know you've been careful not to mention a name, but thank goodness for Jeremy, because he's shining a bright light on the community, and then everybody else can benefit as well. So I'm more power to everybody. I don't care who it is. Yeah, I'm good with it. So let's get into the fun part and get you on your way. First of all, what's your scent of the day?
So today I'm wearing this. Let's see, let me get it out of the box here. So it's Carner Barcelona Fig Man. I just got this one, so I'm kind of working on a review of this, or at least something for it. So this is really good. This is a kind of it's like a beachy type of scent, kind of. Yeah. It's kind of salty and sandy, and maybe a tiny bit figgy, but not really. But
is it like is it fig leaf, or is it actual fig? So sometimes
I don't know. They don't really get fig right in fragrances. It's one of my kind of complaints about the note. I have a fig tree. I love figs. I love fig trees. I got kind of a real love for that several years ago. But they don't really, most companies don't really get figs right. But this is still really good. So yeah, I like that one a lot so far.
Okay, awesome, cool. May I ask, do you have a favorite fragrance content creator that you like to watch as well?
I don't really have a favorite. I don't really watch that much anymore, really. I just kind of just do what I want to do. But there are a lot of really good ones out there. I know one that I really like. I wouldn't necessarily say he's like my favorite, but I like Fragmental a lot. I think he does a lot of great stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, no, he is awesome. What is your favorite mainstream house? If you could pick, you can pick three if you want to.
I like Dior a lot. I think Dior is, they always do a really great job at what they do. I like Hermes a lot. I think they do a really good job. And as far as like just mainstream releases, I think Tom Ford does a really good job. I don't really think their private blend is as good as it used to be. but just as far as like their main Tom Ford line, I think they do a really great job.
Okay. How about boutique houses?
Let's see. I like Imaginary Authors a lot.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm drunk.
Man, there's so many I could mention here. Recently, some that have really captured my attention. BDK has been one that I've just really been enamored with recently. They have some fragrances that are outstanding. I'm probably going to mention more than three. Amour Oud has been just incredible trying their line. And then some that I really got to try recently is Fraiche. I'm late to the house, but Fraiche has been just some of the most well-made fragrances. They're so good.
How do you spell that?
Frapin. So they're a cognac house. They make cognac in France, and they make fragrances as well as part of their line. And their fragrances, a lot of their fragrances incorporate a type of boozy quality in their fragrances. Like maybe it's cognac, and some Luministe has like a gin note, and other ones have different things in there, but they're all like expertly blended. I mean, it's so good.
Never heard of it. That's awesome.
Oh man. Yeah. You're gonna have a fun time. 1270 is really great. Luministe is really great.
I wrote that down.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of the same with Killian? Aren't they kind of like a cognac kind of liquor thing going on with them as well?
Yeah. So Killian is their Hennessy is cognac. That's right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. If you if your place was on fire right there behind you, and it was burning down, and everyone got out safely, of course, and you could only save one fragrance off the shelf, which one would it be?
I'd probably take Green Irish Tweed by Creed. Wow. That's one that I generally tell people is kind of like my signature scent. I wear that probably more often than some of my other scents, just because it's kind of a meaningful scent to me, and I like to wear that around my kids, special occasions, that kind of thing. That's awesome.
You answer that the quickest of anybody. Everybody I've asked that to, Hemhod. You said it so quick. That's awesome. How many fragrances do you have in your collection?
Oh man, I don't even know.
Okay.
I have like two collections. So I have my permanent collection, which is what I generally consider as my fragrances. And in that one, I have maybe close to 40. It's not huge. And I'll even pare that down sometimes. If I don't find that I wear certain fragrances, I'll sell those off. And then I have my kind of rotating to be sold fragrances. And those include fragrances that that come in for review that I'll review, but I don't necessarily want to keep. And I have so many of those, and they just take up so much space. So I have to get rid of fragrances somewhere, just because they literally take up so much space that it has become a problem.
Okay. That's cool. That's a good idea. Okay. Other than fragrances, what are some of your other passions or hobbies that you enjoy?
So I'm a guitar player. I love playing guitar.
Wow.
I've been playing for a long time with that. And so yeah, I have a few different guitars here. So some of the other things that I enjoy too are on my second channel, Beast Made Reviews, which is not necessarily, I'm not trying to plug that.
No, I'm gonna put that in the link when I post this video. In a couple of weeks, I'll put that down in the link so people can find it.
Yeah, well, thank you.
No, for sure.
So I like nicer things whenever I can get them. My son and I have been playing disc golf, which is a sport, and we've been playing that for a few years.
Love it.
And we really enjoy that. So
me too.
So yeah, cool. So,
yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So we've been playing that for a few years, and he's getting really good. And we have a group of guys, and we go play every week. So that's really cool. In my area too, there's an unusually high number of disc golf courses in our area compared to other cities. So that's been really great.
I'm really blessed that way too. Do you carry the bag with all the different discs in it, or do you just play with one disc, or do you play with multiple discs?
Yeah, my bag isn't huge. I do have a bag. I got kind of a medium-sized bag from Dynamic Discs. called their Trooper. I think it's called the Trooper. But yeah, it's a pretty good. You can't see it in camera, but I mean it's pretty good size. And I have all my discs in there. So yeah, I do have a selection of discs that I like to use. But I wouldn't say it's I mean, it's probably not even half what a pro would use, but
when I go out there and I'm just playing myself and I'm not playing anybody, I'll just take one. So I don't have, because I'm lazy and don't want to pick them all up and all that stuff. So I'll just do one. And then when I'm playing somebody, I'll get all serious with my tongue out and I'll have all 3 discs, and
yeah.
I've
awesome. I've kind of relied on certain discs to do certain things. So like my backhand is not too great. It's okay. But my sidearm is really good. So, so I'm almost predominantly sidearm, except for maybe putts. So, especially for certain shots, if I want, so I'm right-handed. So a sidearm, when it fades to the right is great, but for it to fade to the left, I need to get a different style of disc. So I've been kind of relying more on, and before I would switch and I would try backhand for those fade to the left shots. But because my backhand isn't great, I decided to change to just using a different disc for that type of shot. So recently, especially, I have a few different discs that I've rotated in that are understable, so they'll curve they'll hold the lines a lot better. And so yeah, I need a selection just because of the way I throw.
That's awesome. What is one thing people would be surprised to know about you?
Well, some people are surprised that I'm tall.
Okay, yeah, because you're always they always
yeah. So whatever.
I actually have legs. I'm not. Yeah.
I've met a lot of people in the fragrance community, and almost all the time, whenever I meet them, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're so tall," and I'm not freakishly tall. I'm about 6'1". That's on the tall side, but that's not like basketball tall,
Yeah, I'm 6'2".
So. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, we'd be in the same camp. So a lot of times they're shocked that I'm that tall. I think another thing that they'd be surprised at is that while I'm not the best guitar player in the world, I'm pretty proficient in the guitar. So I think if someone saw me play, they would actually be surprised at how well I played.
Wow. So there's so many folks that I have interviewed, from Steven to Justin Copeland to Max Forte, that there's a common theme that so many of them, and I don't just do the big content creators, I'm doing small content creators too. And they're doing, they all play instruments. It's crazy. Everybody's in a band. I'm the only one that doesn't play music. I draw. Everyone else does music. It's crazy. That's a common thread in all this.
I haven't seen everyone play. I've seen some of Justin Copeland play, and he's excellent. He's really good.
Yes.
And then there's another girl on a reviewer on Instagram and YouTube, and I believe her name is Kristen, or maybe I think it's Kristen, and she plays guitar, and she's incredible. She is incredible.
Wow. Awesome. Yeah, it seems to be a common thread. What's your favorite movie, Dave?
I don't really have a favorite movie, honestly. No? Maybe this is sacrilege, but I don't really watch a lot of movies. No. I used to watch movies all the time as like a kid and a teenager, and in my 20s. But now I kind of don't like watching movies, honestly.
Okay. No, that's fine. You're not the only one.
I like TV shows. TV shows are fine. I just don't like movies. Most of the time, they just disappoint me.
Okay. I got you. How about food? Do you have a favorite kind of food you enjoy more than others? That last meal, so to speak.
I was gonna say ramen, but if I were to have a last meal, it would not be ramen.
Yeah. No, I like ramen too, though.
I guess I'm gonna give my token American comment here. I just love hamburgers. Like, if you give me a really good hamburger, I would love it. And there's a couple of places here in town that have just excellent hamburgers. And I know that's so cliche, but having a good hamburger it's
not as easy as it used to be to find a good one. Yeah,
it's definitely not. Yeah.
No. What So since you play music, what is your favorite kind of music to listen to? Do you have somebody you like more than others?
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of different things, and I one of the like I have a wide variety of interest. So like I genuinely love Enya, and
I like her.
which is maybe surprising. Maybe that's another fact that people will find surprising. So Enya is, I mean, her music is beautiful. Then I love rock. I think rock is really, you know, where my bread and butter would be. I mean, I love AC/DC. I love a lot of modern guys for music. One of my favorite bands is a band called Big Wreck. They're in Canada, and they have just an incredible, their music is amazing as far as like rock.
Gotcha.
There's a band called Taicho, which is kind of, I don't know how to describe them. They're not electronic, but they have electronic components. They're not lo-fi, but they have lo-fi components. It's kind of a mixture of kind of lo-fi, instrumental, and electronic elements that are kind of fused together, but it's really melodic too. So I like that a lot.
Check out this band. I don't know if you've ever listened to it. They're called Dirty Honey.
Okay.
Amazing. If you like rock music, they're a cross between Led Zeppelin and Aerosmith, and they're relatively new. And their music is unbelievable. Like,
yeah, that sounds like something I would like. Yeah.
No, they're like a throwback to Zeppelin with a little bit of, you know, like I said, with a little bit of Aerosmith kind of mixed in together is the vibe I get from them. So cool. Good. Yeah. Dirty Honey. Trust me, you'll thank me. I promise you, they're good. That's not a matter of opinion. No, I'm just kidding. Listen, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And what I wanted to say before you take off is there anything that you wanted to promote that you have coming out or that you have going on? Anything you want anybody to know about, anything at all before you take off?
I don't think so. I guess just follow my channels, my Instagram.
But for sure, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Really kind of you.